When everything around you seems to push noise and worry, it can be hard to find a clear moment. This is 10 Better Minutes, a podcast that shares recent real stories to bring a little more balance to how we see the world. Not ignoring what is difficult, but noticing what often goes quietly unseen. Today's stories are meant to show that there is more happening than the usual headlines suggest. We'll begin with a story about a mother in Memphis who noticed a small child alone on the street and stepped in to help. In the Fraser neighborhood of Memphis, Tennessee, a mother named Jabril Walls was just getting through an ordinary morning. She had dropped her children off at school and was driving to her grandmother's house when she noticed a frightened 3-year-old girl walking alone in the middle of the street. Without hesitating, Walls pulled over to keep the child safe. She shielded her from traffic and opened her car door, speaking gently until the little girl ran right up to her and asked, clearly and urgently, for Mommy and Daddy. Walls did not just offer comfort. She took practical steps, the kind that can turn a scary moment into a rescue. First, she helped the girl stay calm, then she drove her to the fire station. There, Walls contacted police for help, making sure the right people could search and connect the child with her family. Nearby, the family used clues, like a gray and white house and the fact that the child had left her shoes behind, and they began to narrow in on where she might be. Soon, the child was found safely and reunited with her family. And Walls did not simply disappear after the paperwork and phone calls were made. She stayed in touch, offering reassurance that kindness can have a lasting ripple. It is a reminder that when everyday people choose compassion and quick action, safety and belonging can return fast. It is amazing how some of the smallest family sayings can end up steering us year after year, especially when life feels a little uncertain. Let us step into a handful of those everyday bits of wisdom and see how they can gently nudge your courage and your kindness. In Sussex, Dom keeps it simple with Sunday best every day, as if dignity is something you choose, not something you wait for. Trudy in Norfolk offers a calmer kind of peace. Never go to bed on an argument, a reminder that relationships are worth tending while there is still time. Across the water in Delft, Annex suggests a brave question, asking what you would do if you were fearless, and then noticing which steps still feel possible. Susan in Brighton repeats her favorite truth. It is nice to be important, but it is more important to be nice. And you can hear how steady that sounds when everything else feels loud. In Devon, Emily's father urged her to keep moving forward, not in a rush but with momentum. And when anger flares, Tara in the Netherlands adds a quiet pause to her advice. Wait before responding. What I love is how these words do not demand perfection. They just offer direction. They help you pick care over clench, curiosity over guesswork, and progress over staying stuck, one ordinary moment at a time. Have you ever wondered what it would look like if environmental recovery could actually keep pace with environmental damage? Here's a story from the research world that offers a rare, steady kind of hope. A landmark study, published in Science by a team from Tulane University, reports that global mangrove destruction has not only stopped, it is reversing. The researchers note that the world lost nearly 1,120 square miles of mangroves between the 1980s and 2010. But during the past 16 years, the picture shifted, with gains outpacing losses. By 2023, the net decline across roughly 4 decades is only about 1%. Just as important, the study found that mangrove forests are becoming denser and healthier. Closed canopy mangrove areas have expanded, meaning more places are growing with the fuller protective structure that these coastal ecosystems are known for. The authors also point to resilience in a real-world way. Lead author Dr. Zhen Zhang shared that islands covered by mangroves still stayed well protected after the 2004 tsunami. That detail is not about focusing on disaster. It is about showing that when mangroves thrive, they do more than look good. They help the shoreline endure. If you have felt like climate progress is always moving at the speed of heartbreak, this is a reminder that targeted conservation and restoration can work. Not perfectly, not everywhere, but enough to matter. If you have ever looked at a patch of still water and wondered what could come to life there, this story is a quiet answer. And it starts with design. Sean Hancock builds ponds for wildlife rewilding across Britain, using skills he learned shaping golf courses to make wetlands that feel intentional from the first scoop of soil. Britain has lost at least 400,000 ponds over the past century, and the remaining ones can be overgrown or degraded, with fewer places for freshwater species to breed. At Heel, Somerset, in 185-hectare former dairy farm, he is digging 4 new ponds, including a double-bowled pond about 30 meters in diameter. The goal is specific. Great crested newts on the farm have low numbers, and there are no suitable breeding ponds yet. These ponds are charged by clean rainwater or clean groundwater, and they are not connected to any river system, so unwanted drainage does not creep in. What stands out is how the work extends beyond the first flood of water. Through the NatureSpace partnership, the replacement wetland habitat is funded with plans built for the long term. Inspections and annual payments to landowners help the ponds stay in good shape for at least 25 years. Within about a year, rain can do what it always does, but now it has a place to land. Aquatic life returns, birds find food and shelter, and hope settles in something you can see. Some families wait for peace and others wait for answers, especially when questions about timing start to crowd the room. It can feel unbearable to think, what if I cannot be there in time? In this story, hospice nurse Julie McFadden brings a steadier kind of hope. She has worked as a hospice nurse since 2015 and has shared end-of-life education for more than 5 years, including reflections drawn from research she discusses publicly. She explains that many people die during a quiet early morning window, sometimes described as the letting go hour, with studies often pointing to about 2 a.m. to 5 a.m. Other research notes different patterns, such as a window from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m., or a peak around 11 a.m. The point is not certainty for any one person, but a reminder that the body and the environment move through natural rhythms. McFadden connects the pattern to circadian rhythm changes that affect energy, temperature, blood pressure, and breathing. As the night fades, some bodily systems slow in ways that can coincide with the process of letting go. She also mentions that the world is quieter then, with fewer interruptions and calmer surroundings. For families, her guidance is simple and gentle. Your loved one will let go when their body is ready, and you cannot predict or control the exact moment. What you can do is be present when you are able and offer comfort that does not depend on a clock. As always, I have a steady little tip for your mental reset and for nudging your day toward more joy. Today, we are talking about kindness words that actually help in the real world, not just in the moment you are feeling warm and sentimental. Here's the shift. Instead of saying, I hope you feel better, try, I am here and I can help with the next step. Kindness does not have to be poetry. It can be directions. It can be specifics. It can be care that shows up on time. When you want to offer support, use language that reduces pressure. Say, no rush, take your time, or I can do that part today, or want me to stay on until we figure it out. These words give someone a path. They take the guesswork out of receiving help, and when you need to speak with someone you care about, choose kindness that protects dignity. Try, what would make this easier? Or, I hear you. Here is what I am noticing. Or, I respect your pace. Make your kindness practical enough to be used. Warmth is great, but clarity is what makes it land. Hey friends, we are at the end of today's 10 Better Minutes episode. Thank you for hanging in there with me for a few minutes of something steadier than the usual rush of headlines. If today left you feeling a little heavier, I hope what we talked about still lands as a quieter kind of proof that decency, kindness, and everyday effort are still happening. Not everywhere, not all at once, but often enough to notice if we look. This is Ian Rhodes with 10 Better Minutes. Take care, and I will see you tomorrow.